Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome here to Filthy Sports. I'm your host, John Campy. I'm joined in studio by Ray Ora.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Jonathan Voico.
Hello, hello.
Ryan Myers is here.
Hey, everybody.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Filthy Sports is the show where we talk about sports here on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcasting app of choice. Thanks for being in here and joining us today. And we start things off today with some sad stuff. When I was a child, like just a little kid and learning about the world and baseball, Fernando Valenzuela, what do they call it? Fernando Mania?
Fernando Mania, yep.
Was sweeping the world. I mean, he was synonymous with baseball. And really, I don't know. I'm only of a certain era. There may have been eras before ours. I can't think of like a story, like an individual story that's so completely engulfed baseball as the story of Fernando. And he was baseball, and he was the Dodgers, and he was all this kind of stuff with his weird looking body form and, coming out of nowhere as a rookie. And Fernando has passed away at the age of 63. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny because I personally didn't know, Jonathan, you were saying you had heard that he wasn't doing well. I hadn't heard that. I just remember he was at the Dodger Stadium for a big ceremony a while ago. So it kind of caught me completely by surprise. But you said people kind of suspected.
Yeah, no, it was known. It was public. Because he was the for the Spanish sports radio. He was the announcer.
He was doing call by call.
Yeah. For the Dodgers, and I just know, like, in watching the games, they would once in a while talk about him if he was gone and some of the health struggles he was going through. They were never specific. That was private to him, but I knew there was something going on. So when I read that yesterday, I was sad, but I also was like, okay, I kind of get it,
Now, here's the thing. He did something that I feel comfortable. Like when a record gets set, you're walking on very dangerous ground to say that'll never be done again. Because, records are made to be broken. But I feel very, very comfortable saying what Fernando Valenzuela did will never, ever remotely be touched. I was watching Rich Eisen talk about Fernando, and he brought up this chart. This is Fernando's first 8 games as a major league pitcher. His first 8 games as a major league pitcher. All of them complete games. These days it's like, wow, when are they going to pull the pitcher? It's the 4th inning already, right? Because like today pitchers don't have arms anymore. But like even back in that era when throwing a complete game was not completely unheard of, 8 complete 9-inning games. And over those scope of 8 games, 5 complete game shutouts, only giving up 4 runs. He had a 0.5 ERA.
Not even one.
A 0.5 ERA. He went on to become the first, and still today, the only player in Major League Baseball to win the Cy Young and Rookie of the Year in the same year. He also won the Slugger Award, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Silver Slugger in the same year.
So, I mean, he was a pitcher who could hit. I think they said his lifetime, he was like 7 for 19 as a pinch hitter.
Wow.
For a pitcher? That's like Ohtani numbers. Anyway, I mean, what this guy did, the energy he created, and he became one of those guys where, like, again, this is like before my time of being even a teenager before that. But like, you hear the stories being told that when Fernando was going to pitch in a city, people bought tickets. You had to go see this Fernando kid.
Yeah. It echoes what happens with Ohtani nowadays.
Yeah, which is also very similar to Ohtani.
So novel, though, for that time, because, Sandy Koufax is like a pitching legend, but I don't know that he sold out stadiums just because Sandy Koufax was pitching.
Now, I don't think Fernando was ever in danger of creating the 50-50 club.
No.
But
other achievements, then
but I mean,
and,
I bring up this graphic again.
Uh-huh.
I want us to, because this looks like a lie. This chart straight up looks like a liar's lie.
It looks like Fernando filled it out himself.
Yes. Oh, what was my bat? What was my
He's
pitching?
like, I can't make it look too good. Let me throw a 1 in there real quick.
He smirched up. No, this is real.
4 runs in 72 innings.
This looks like a fairy tale, like pure fiction. And that was like right out of the gate. It's just, and he just went on to have an incredible career. And I mean, you could feel it. I mean, we live in the Los Angeles area. I think you can feel it all around baseball, but you can really feel it in LA.
Especially with the World Series starting on Friday and everything.
Against the Yankees.
Crazy timing. Which, he was famous for that 81 game where the Dodgers, I think they won it in 6, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I think they got it in 6.
I can't remember if it was Dave Stewart, but he became one half of the only time in Major League Baseball history. I think Dave Stewart was the other half. I could be wrong. Where 2 pitchers threw no hitters in the same game. In 88, he threw a no hitter. And I think on that same day, I think it was Dave Stewart threw a no hitter as well.
Crazy.
Just absolutely nuts. And again, the passing of a legend, Fernando Valenzuela, at the age of 63. Guys, question is for you. If you're around my age, I mean, we might be a bit young to have watched him a lot, but I mean, the legacy is, unrefutable. It's just incredible. And the types of things he did were insane. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comments below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's go on to this, shall we? Some of you might remember, I think a week or 2 ago, we talked about this. Shohei Ohtani, of course, created the 50-50 club. And the home run ball that he hit to create the 50-50 club, the 50th home run, it was grabbed by a guy who then got taken to court by another guy who said he had it first. And then they were both taken to court by another guy who says, no, I had it first. And there's this big lawsuit going on around the Shohei Ohtani 50-50 ball. Well, the ball was put up for auction. The way it was arranged was the 3 people involved in the lawsuit mutually agreed that the auction should go forward and that the money generated from the auction will just be put into trust until the lawsuit is settled, right? Well, at the time, I remember hearing somebody on ESPN said, well, yeah, these guys are fighting this ball. This ball is going to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And he wasn't wrong. The bidding, when this ball went to
40.
auction, started at $500,000. By the time the lawsuits all got rolling, the bidding was at $1.1 billion. Well, now, according to reports, the bidding is now done. The ball has been won, and that ball went for $4.4 million. $4.4 million. So now all eyes turn back to the lawsuits. Now, again, a guy came out of it with the ball, and a couple other people claim they had the ball first. Look, I'm sure I haven't seen every single camera angle, but I've seen about 4 or 5. I'm sure many of you have too. And in no video that I've seen, is there any clear definitive proof that either of the two other guys ever had possession of the ball?
That table was in the way. So
yeah, there was just, I mean, is it possible they might have had the ball? Maybe. But I mean, I haven't seen anything that suggests. Now, maybe these guys make a deal and say, look, it went for 4.4. Yo, you guy who came out with the ball, how about you get 3 million and me and the other guy who are in this lawsuit, we split the 1.4 million and we each get 700. I don't know. Maybe they'll come up with some kind of settlement for this, but I just haven't seen anything that suggests the guy that ended up with the ball isn't the guy who ended up with the ball. So I'm there on that. Anyway, they're saying now that this ball going for $4.4 million is not just the most expensive baseball ever to go at auction. It's the most expensive ball in any sport in history to go for. Who bought this thing?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Who actually bought this?
They're not letting it be public information.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, who had $4.4 million to drop on a baseball that, as far as I know, does not rub your feet? So I don't know. Anyway, Ryan, you saw this $4.4 million for this. Yeah. I don't know. What's your take?
I mean, I buy stuff off eBay, and I get excited for bidding for a couple bucks up from the original price. This thing jumped up. The way that the auctions work was interesting. I guess at the end of every time someone put a bid in towards the end, it extended the auction longer.
Yes.
So every time a bid came in, they added 30 minutes. So I guess towards the end, it actually extended it by like 2.5 hours. Oof. So people were coming in. It basically jumped like $1.5 million in the last hour or something.
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
Wow.
So people were just waiting till the end to come in with these bets. So it's super. I want to know who got it. Like who put this in their collection, or what famous person or collector has it.
There's a rumor going around that Ohtani himself put in a bid.
I can see that. I mean, he has plenty of money. He
Oh,
he could definitely buy it. So, but yeah, it is crazy. The previous record for baseball was Mark McGwire's 70th home run. Ball was like $3 million. So definitely
Shohei's out here just making millionaires out of the fans too.
for
Like,
sure.
I'm so important. A ball I didn't even touch with my hands.
Yeah.
A ball I touched with my bat is worth $4.4 million.
Yeah, man, it's just giving back to the fans.
But isn't that like 2 weeks' salary for Shohei Ohtani?
Probably.
I mean,
Well-
the guy signed like a $700 million deal.
He did, yeah. Well, no, I mean that's deferred a decade, but he gets $2 million a year. But he's already worth tens of millions anyway.
Yeah, but it's going to average to $60 million a year.
Yeah,
When it's all said and done,
Yes, average
$60
out,
million
yeah.
a year.
In 10 years, they literally got to fork that all over in a lump sum. Ugh.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? You know what? Even before we end the segment, I want to go around the circle here. I'm curious to know, what is everybody's most expensive thing that's not your car, not your house, just the thing you didn't need that you bought for you? I think for me, it might be, it's under this Wayne Gretzky jersey. I have a Sons of Anarchy used on set, autographed by all the main cast, a Sons of Anarchy cut from the show. Autographed by Charlie Hunnam, autographed by who's Hellboy again?
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman, autographed by like 5 of the main people on the thing. And I think I paid about $1,800 for it. So I think that's the most I've ever spent on something like that.
I'll go next.
What's your thing?
I got
So it's expensive because we purchased it expensive, or it went up in value?
No, that you bought. What's the most you
that we
dropped?
well,
on
okay.
So I'm
something?
gonna keep it sports related. Everyone knows like the prices of NFL jerseys, right?
Yeah.
Like the on field one is like probably the most expensive. But I got a custom one, a Bengals one with Aura on the back, my last name, and that costs, I don't know, with customization maybe close to 400. I don't know. It's the elite jersey. They go through so many changes of jerseys that I don't.
Wait a minute. I got the true right. Like with all the toys and stuff and the collectibles, you tell me 400.
I'm sports related.
Oh,
That's
you're
the
just
most-
limiting it to
yeah,
sports related.
It's a sports
Okay,
show. Let's
okay.
keep it.
I'll
keep it sports a little bit.
I respect that. Jonathan, what about you?
Honestly, it's probably some comic. It's probably like a Spider-Man comic that I laid down like a few $100 for. Yeah, nothing too exciting. Sports related, like
It's just starting now, huh? You got the Dodgers bubble.
yeah,
over there.
it's like Dodgers memorabilia and stuff like that. But honestly, for me, it's probably like a Spider-Man comic. Yeah.
What about you, Ryan?
I have a autographed Magic Johnson jersey.
You have an autographed Magic Johnson? I didn't even know that. How did I not know that?
during COVID when I had nothing to do one night. I was drunk and I just bought it. So yeah, it was like $500. But
There you go.
it was worth
Everybody's
it.
best purchasing stories was it was late at night and I was drunk.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The Ohtani 50th home run ball has gone for $4.4 million. What do you think about that? Who do you speculate might be the person who bought it? And honestly, I'd be curious to know, jump into the comments. What's the most expensive thing you've bought that wasn't a necessity? I'd be interested to know. Anyway, whatever you guys think, jump down in the comments below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down, let's move on to this. So the NBA season kicked off last night, and a couple of really interesting games. Honestly, games that didn't look that interesting to me, but ended up being really interesting. And the first one we got to talk about, the one that kicked it off, was the defending NBA champions, the Boston Celtics, went up against a team that some people out there, I was reading through them yesterday, some people are picking to knock off the Celtics in the East this year, the New York Knicks. They still got Brunson. They added Cat. They're an improved team. The Boston Celtics absolutely curb stomped the New York Knicks. I watched this game. I think I missed the first quarter, but then I watched the game. And the final score was 132-109. Don't be fooled. The game was not that close.
The game was over in the first quarter.
The game was over before the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, it was toast. Yeah.
They beat, forgive the language, but they beat the living shit out of this team. They spanked their ass and told them to say thank you. It was an embarrassment. It got so bad that Boston just started playing. Like they were just like, oh, we've got 29 3-pointers, which tied the NBA record. And they just started running down the court and tossing up 28 more threes.
Yeah.
They missed, 11 or
12 in a row. They couldn't
12
break the record. They tried,
Yeah.
but they couldn't do it.
But you know what? It didn't matter. They knew
already
they
had it.
could.
They're just
Yeah.
playing themselves.
Basically.
They had already totally humiliated the New York Knicks. Like, just humiliated them. It looked like it was a different team. You know what the thing is about this Boston team? And I was watching them, particularly in the third quarter. I don't think they have a single player that's in the top 4 players in the NBA. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to Tatum, but he's great. He's great. But I don't think he's a top 4 player in the NBA. You know what they have? The best chemistry. You watch that team play. They flow like water. They are so in sync. Their timing with each other is so shorthand. Like they just play brilliantly. And here's the interesting thing. Like White, third best player on the team, maybe fourth when they're completely healthy.
Third or fourth, depending on Porzingis.
He's a lot of team in this NBA. He's a lot of teams' number 1 player. Like this guy he's like the cog that makes the whole machine work. You got Brown going off. You got Tatum going off. I mean, it was just an absolute humiliation. So the question I have for you, Ryan, is what is the story from last night? Just how good the Boston Celtics are, or that we overestimated how good the New York Knicks would be this year?
I think it's both. When a team shoots 50% from 3, basically, no other team is going to beat, unless they're shooting 50% too. Like they were hitting every shot. Every guy was hitting threes. Tatum went off in the first quarter. I kind of mentioned in our show yesterday that I think he has a chip on his shoulder, and I think it showed last night. He had 37 points. I think he didn't even play in the fourth quarter, so he's like going crazy. I do think the Knicks need more time to gel, but that was a horrible outing last night. They pretty much, it seemed like they kind of gave up after the first quarter. I think Cat is not known for his defense. He's going to give you points, but he's not going to get any stops, and that's what they kind of needed last night. Same thing with Bridges. I don't know if anybody's noticed. Bridges has kind of changed his jump shot. There's a film from early in the season.
Yeah, I saw a clip
and
on
he has
that.
like a weird hitch in it. I mean, he didn't shoot horribly last night, but not great. I want to see how it pans out over the season.
And didn't Tatum change his jump shot too? I was reading something he was working on the
Yeah,
form
in
of
the Olympics, there was comments about how his jumper was kind of weird.
Tell you what, man, he looked
and now, not last
smooth.
night. He was fine last
He
night.
looked smooth
Can I say
last
something
night.
real quick?
Yeah.
The way that game ended with them hawking up all those threes and stuff, for me, and I'm not trying to be whatever. I agree with Ryan. They need time to gel. We'll see what these teams are made of by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But teams don't forget that. I wouldn't forget that. I wouldn't forget them just chucking up threes at the end, just like, embarrassing my team. And it'll be interesting to see if the Knicks remember that late in the season when they're playing whatever game, how many games they have.
Although at the end, the very end, I think there was 1 minute left. They stopped trying. They dribbled the ball up and they stood there.
Yeah.
The coach was like, don't do it.
I think they were heaving up the threes not to run up the score. They were just trying to break the
They're trying to break the record.
They,
And the crowd
needed
were not
one
happy
more
with it.
three, but still. But I do think, though, that a part of that, even like after the first quarter was done and it was clear, we are a high schooler beating up on a grade school kid, right? I think Boston, though, in the first game out, it's kind of like the day you go to prison, find the toughest guy and beat the shit out of him. They wanted to make a statement.
Yeah.
and they wanted to send a message to the whole NBA. Oh, these are the guys you say are going to dethrone us in the East? Yeah, watch what we do.
The scary part is Porzingis didn't even play.
They didn't even have
So
Porzingis
they don't
in the
have
lineup.
their third best player, center, whatever. Like, yeah, it's going to be tough. The Knicks need more time. Hopefully they can learn from this. But like we said yesterday, the Celtics are the best team. So
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you take away from that game last night? I took away from it that Boston dropped their pants, pulled it out, and peed on the tree saying this is our territory. They just completely hospitalized the New York Knicks last night. Whatever your takeaway from it was, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Knicks Celtics wasn't the only game to kick off the NBA season last night. As in what can only be described as a circus-like atmosphere, take that for what it will. LeBron James and the LA Lakers were taking on They're taking on Anthony Edwards. Not to be confused with Maverick's wingman Goose from Top Gun, but different Anthony Edwards. Taking on Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves in what I admittedly thought was going to be kind of a walk in the park for Minnesota. Almost everybody has Minnesota in the top 3 in the West this year. Some people have them number 1, some people have them number 2, some people have them number 3, whatever it's going to be. The Lakers are the same collection of players, the exact same starting lineup and collection of players that barely made the play-in last year. But wait, with one special difference. Bronny James. That's right. As Ray quoted before our show started today, 2 James win games.
Hell yeah, man.
turn it up.
Piggybacking off of Jonathan's statement.
So
Yeah, man.
they had, for the first time in NBA history, a father and son check into a game together. First time it ever happened. And listen,
It's sweet. Come on.
it's a meaningless thing. Bronny James is going to be, I expect he's already packed his suitcase to go to the G League. But Ray's right. It was a really nice moment.
Yeah.
To see a father and son go out, and you see the Griffeys showed up.
Yeah,
were they?
Yeah,
before
they
the game,
they
took
flew
pictures
and
and
went to the
stuff.
game.
Yeah.
So to see a father and son come on the court together, the shot constantly going to LeBron's wife, who looks 19.
Yeah, she's
She's beautiful.
yeah.
I'm like, that is not that guy's mother. But yes, it was. Anyway, then his siblings as well.
Yep.
Bronny's siblings sitting courtside. You know, look, was it a gimmick? Yes. Was it a little bit of a circus? Absolutely. But did it create a really sweet moment? It really did, and the fans appreciated it. Everybody liked it, and all that kind of stuff. Now, he didn't do anything in the game.
Yeah,
He
one
missed-
rebound and missed a 3.
Yeah, had a good open look at a 3.
Yeah.
Wasn't a horrible shot. Actually, I thought it was going to go in.
I wish it would have went in just to make the moment.
Yeah,
but,
when he launched it, when it hit the peak of its arc, I thought, oh, this is going in.
Yeah.
But whatever. But that's not the story. The story is through all that, the Los Angeles Lakers actually won the game. They were actually up by 19 at one point early in the game.
Yep.
And they managed to hold on to the lead throughout it. They ended up with, listen, my goodness, Anthony Davis is a bad man. And he might be coming into the peak of his superpowers now, because this guy went off for 36 points and 16 rebounds. 36 points and 16 rebounds. And, you know, I was listening to one of the other guys, one of the other sports shows this morning, and they put, listen, I am a massive critic of their coaching choice. And I will continue to be. I think it's a joke that you went out and hired a guy who doesn't have a single day's experience of even being an assistant coach on any level anywhere to be the head coach of the LA Lakers.
Fake it till you make it, baby.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. I think it was an incredibly ignorant and stupid decision for them to do, and I'll continue to say so. But the Lakers played better last night than as a team than I saw them play all last year. And we went to a bunch of games last year.
And I watched every game last year.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of the coaching discrepancy already.
He had them.
So,
Listen, I'm going to say, now it's just one game. It was one game, but I will give credit where it's due. As a team, they just flowed better. Their spacing was better. Like everything about it just seemed like a better basketball team than all of what we saw last year. And as long as that wasn't just a fluke, maybe this can turn into something. Anyway, you watched the game last night. Ryan, what was your takeaway from it?
Like you said, same thing. One game. I always think of the Hawkeye, don't give me hope gif in my head with the Lakers. They played a lot better. Some stuff that JJ Redick already did that Darvin Ham never did. Call timeouts appropriately.
Yeah.
Out of timeout plays and game adjustments. In the fourth quarter, they were doubling Anthony Edwards, and 2 or 3 baskets in a row, he kicked out to somebody and they either got an open shot or drove to the basket and got a shot. He immediately said, stop double teaming. And then they got it back under control. Darvin Ham would have let that go until the end of the game. He wouldn't have said anything. So the strategy is already better in one game that I've seen. Like one game though, but it is way better than last season. Davis was a monster. I think he played that way because Gobert always gets Defensive Player of the Year and he doesn't.
Right.
I think he tries to prove a point. I know it's offense against defense, but he also blocked one of Gobert's dunks. 3 blocks in total for the game. And he played out of his mind. LeBron had 15 points, 6 rebounds. He played fine. Rui Hachimura had a really good game.
Yeah.
18 points.
Yeah, he did. He looked good.
I think he's going to excel more in this offense with JJ than Darvin Ham.
They're going to need him.
Yeah, Darvin Ham,
Yeah.
I don't think he really put him in a position to succeed or really drew up plays for him. I think now they can do that. Reeves played good. Connect had a couple of shots. So I think overall they played good. They were horrible from the 3, 5 for 30. So I don't know how they won shooting 5 for 30, but with their defense, they only had 6 turnovers, I think. Timberwolves had 15, so that was a difference in that.
Yeah, but with Reeves and Russell and James, they're not going to go 5 for 30. No. Again, probably for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
The other thing was the team defense.
Yeah.
Now, they gave up 103 points. I know they gave up 103 points. But here's the thing, talking about like Anthony Edwards, I know it sounds weird to say 27 points and held 2 in the same statement, but I honestly think if you can go in and play Minnesota and hold Anthony Edwards to about 27, which they did.
On 25 shots.
Yeah, and then I think 6 assists, whatever.
Yeah.
If you can do that, you don't let him go off for 30 plus, you put yourself in a pretty good position to win the game. And because Gobert isn't going to come out and score 30.
And Connolly had a bad shooting night. I think he was 1 for 5 or something like that from 3. So yeah, they did what they needed to do. Randall didn't really look great in the starting lineup. He looked like he kind of was struggling to try to find his role in it. He had like 15 points, but I don't think he had a really good game. So I just growing pains with them too. They lost Cat, who was one of their major offensive players, and they have to work Randall in and DiVincenzo. So I give them time also, but it's a good start for the Lakers. I'm excited for what I see so far, and hopefully they can keep it going. And JJ this isn't just a 1-game fluke. So
anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The Lakers actually beat the Minnesota Timberwolves opening night. 2 James win games. Maybe they have to just keep Bronny around until they lose. I mean, it is what it is. Whatever you guys took away from it, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, on yesterday or a week ago, I can't remember exactly, one of our viewers wrote in and said, John, what do you think about the chances that the Los Angeles Rams move Cooper Kupp? And I said, no, I can't see it happening because, they just got a win without Puka Nacua and without Cooper Kupp in the lineup. They're 2 best players, and they got a win, and they're going to be getting both of those guys back. And last year, they started horrible, but went on a big run at the end and made a playoff and got into the playoffs, all that kind of stuff. So I said, no. Well, my no was wrong because according to all the analysts and the reporters in the sports world, Cooper Kupp is getting traded. The Athletics NFL cover, Diana Rossini wrote, the Rams have called multiple teams about trading former Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp. Sources tell Mike Silver and me. The Rams have indicated a willingness to take on some of the 2024 salary and are seeking a 2nd round pick for Cooper Kupp. Now listen, for those of you who may not follow the Los Angeles Rams, Cooper Kupp is like some insane video game create your own character dude. Like, this is a guy that would just come up in money situations every time. 3-foot back shoulder, no problem. 4 yards out front, he'll catch up to it. Like 2-on-1, he'll find open ground. Like, he's just been like that kind of a difference maker, which is why he won the Super Bowl MVP. His numbers have been great. Now, the problem with Cooper Kupp is that he has been plagued the last couple of years with injuries that has clearly hampered his play. They say he looks good right now. They're targeting his comeback, all that kind of stuff. But the Rams seem to be willing to look forward to move on from him. I think the Rams are starting, maybe this is the first signal that they are acknowledging the one era of the Rams is over, time for us to start rebuilding. Because Aaron Donald, I mean, that team changed when Aaron Donald, Aaron Donald, who might arguably be the best pure football player, period, of the last 10 years. But he retired, so gone. You know, you got a young Puka coming up that he's going to be good. You got him. You can lock him in for a long time. So the question becomes, if the Rams do trade Cooper Kupp, where is he likely to go? Because there's a lot of teams right now that are kind of looking for good wide receivers to kind of shore things up and all that kind of stuff. I want to propose there are 3 places most likely for him to go. And I'll go in order of least likely to most likely. My number 3 spot for potential destination for Cooper Kupp is, don't go anywhere, the LA Chargers. Just stay in town. Listen, there's a lot of good pieces over at the Chargers. They've got their new coach who knows how to win. Herbert needs that. You got a stud of a kid quarterback. I mean, he's not really a kid anymore. He's becoming a veteran, but he needs more weapons. Not necessarily the top notch, whatever, but he needs more weapons around him. Cooper Kupp seems like a no-brainer. Obviously, I think if Cooper's going to get traded, it'd be nice to stay in LA.
Yeah, and that'd be like a favor to him. Like, you got to move your family.
You don't have to move your family. You don't have to uproot your life. You don't have to. You just stay right where you are.
Yep.
You can eat. All you got to do is go to your locker room, take your stuff out of your locker, walk down the hall, and put it into a new cubby. You're good, right? So they're good there. So I honestly think that's going to be a serious place. I won't be surprised at all if we wake up tomorrow morning and find out that Cooper Kupp's been traded to the Chargers. So that's why I think the 3, but I think there are 2 other places that are even more likely. So number 3, I think, is the Chargers. Number 2, and this might surprise some of you, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, I think, are a legitimate place for them to go because they have suffered major losses lately. They've been managing to win, but, they lost Rice. They lost
Hollywood Brown,
Juju.
Yeah.
They lost. I mean, they're short some pieces. Now, they've just signed to get DeAndre Hopkins. We're going to talk about that in a second. That's a good addition. And we'll talk about why it's such a good addition a little bit later. But here's the thing. And again, we'll talk about it later. Hopkins got picked up for nothing but a 5th round pick. They got DeAndre Hopkins for a 5th round pick. They have trade capital. And if you're the Chiefs and you really want to solidify that we are a favorite to win the Super Bowl this year, can you imagine Cooper Kupp running routes for Patrick Mahomes?
With Hopkins and Kelsey?
Seriously?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Because you want to know what one of the things that Cooper Kupp is best at? It's also happened to be something Hopkins is really good at. When the quarterback has to extend the plays, and you've done the route, but now it's time to freelance. And you just got to get open for your quarterback. Yeah. Kupp is one of the best in the league at that. And what does Mahomes do? He scrambles, lets downfield evolve, and then picks his spot. Kelsey is lethal at that. How a guy as big as Kelsey ever gets wide open, I don't know, but Kelsey finds a way to get himself wide open a lot in that. And you put a Cooper Kupp out there doing that with them, I mean, as if the undefeated Chiefs aren't a problem already. Yeah. That becomes an issue. So my number 3 spot for him to go to is the Chargers. My number 2 is the Kansas City Chiefs. What I think is the most likely scenario for Cooper Kupp, though, I think the team that will move the most to try to get him right now is a team that legitimately has a shot to go deep in the playoffs if they make the right moves. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just lost their 2 best receivers. They just lost Mike Evans, who he'll be back probably in 3 or 4 weeks, but he's going to be out for weeks. And they lost Godwin for the season. Mr. Reliable, yards after catch. They lost him. And so now you've got this gunslinger quarterback who leads the league in touchdowns, by the way, with Baker Mayfield, and you have completely emptied out the quiver. You got nothing left. I think if you're talking about a team that could benefit most from Cooper Kupp going there and would probably be willing to move the most to get him, I think you're looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm going to say my number 3 is the Chargers. My number 2 is the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think the most likely place for him to go, the one that makes the most sense at any rate, is probably the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anyway, Ryan, you see what's going on with Kupp. Number 1, do you think they'll ultimately move him? And then number 2, if he does, where do you see him winding up?
I see why they want to move him. The NFC West is not super stacked at the moment with records in their division. He's supposed to play tomorrow against the Vikings, so I kind of want him to stick around to see what we can do. But I understand why they want to trade him. He's getting up there. He has injury history. Stafford's getting up there in age too. They might be getting ready to reboot and getting as much as they can for these players. Kupp still owed a lot of money. He makes like 20-some million
I think he's at 15 or something million. He's still owed $9 million for this year.
Then he has 2 more years after that. So there is the salary cap issue. Like wherever he goes, whatever the Rams say they're going to pay, the rest of the team has to eat it. So like the Chiefs, I don't know how much cap they have. Some of these other teams, how much cap they have to swallow. But all the teams you picked are on my list. A couple of teams I have that aren't. The Steelers. I think they basically only have Pickens. And they have Wilson in there now and get him some more targets.
Because listen, man, they're 5-2.
Yeah.
Their offense now is humming better than it has all year now that they got Russell Wilson in there. We'll see whether or not that continues. Yeah. But you add a weapon like a Cooper Kupp on the outside, you now start to have delusions of grandeur about maybe getting to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he's a security blanket like he was that for Stafford, being around when needed for passes running out of the backfield. So I think that's a place they could go. Also, the Commanders give Jaden Daniels another weapon. They have some good receivers, but I think adding Kupp just makes everything better. I still think, though, overall, the best team is Tampa. Like you said, they don't have any receivers. They need one. So that makes the most sense for a team when they don't have a receiver to get one. But I'll be interested to see who picks him up. I'll be sad to see him go. I was there for the NFC Championship game before they went to the Super Bowl, and he pretty much won that Super Bowl for us. So I'm sad to see him go, but I understand the business of football and what happens, so we'll see if they actually trade him. I think the trade deadline is the first week of November, so this week might
November
be November
5th, isn't it?
Yeah.
November 5th, yeah.
So this might be...
I think Election Day, isn't it?
Oh, you're right, it is.
Isn't that the trade deadline is Election Day?
This might be one of his last games as a Ram, so...
Some people are saying the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Baltimore Ravens, I'm just going by the eye test. They got the most lethal offense in the league right now. What they need is to build their defense.
Yeah.
Right? Like if Baltimore needs to make any moves and makes any trades, I don't think you do it going all in for another receiver. I think you go and get 1 or 2 pieces that you add to your defense. I think that's probably going to be their priority because, listen, Baltimore has the offense to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know that they have, I'm not comfortable that they have the defense to win a Super Bowl. So I think if they're going to make any moves, they probably go there. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? They're saying Cooper Kupp, that the Rams are actively contacting teams and saying Cooper Kupp is on the block, man. You want a Cooper Kupp? You want a Super Bowl MVP? Come get him. We're asking for a 2nd-round pick. What do you think, and where do you think he could end up? Whatever you think, jump down to the comments below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? The aforementioned trade got made. The Kansas City Chiefs have acquired DeAndre Hopkins for, get this, a 5th-round pick. They got DeAndre Hopkins as 5th round. By the way, for all these people who are saying DeAndre Hopkins is past his prime, he's 32 years old now. You're right. He's not the same DeAndre Hopkins who caught for like 1,500 yards and all that kind of stuff. You're right. But this dude caught for over 1,000 yards on Tennessee.
I was going to say, with horrible quarterbacks.
just last year. Mm-hmm. Now, he hasn't done a lot yet this year. Look at the team he's on. But just last year, the dude caught for over 1,000 yards. Here's the thing about DeAndre Hopkins and why I think this is such a great fit for what many people will argue is already the best team in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs. We were just talking about this with Cooper Kupp, right? I said Cooper Kupp is one of the best in the league of once the play gets extended, of being able to get open for his quarterback, about being able to move defenders and all that kind of stuff. I brought that up because the other guy who is a master at that is DeAndre Hopkins. Now, he's not going to blister anybody doing a straight red line route right down the sideline towards the end zone. He's not going to out-track star many guys today. But what he will do is he'll get open and he'll win contested balls.
Yeah.
When you get those 50-50 balls and sometimes even 2-to-1 coverages and stuff like that, he will more times than not come down with those balls. And when you look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes, that's the kind of receiver he loves. He loves the guys who find open grass when he's scrambling behind the line of scrimmage, trying to extend a play. DeAndre Hopkins is always moving. His feet's always moving, right? He finds a way to get open. And then when it's tight, you put up those contested balls, more times than not, he's coming down with them. That's, again, it's just a matter of fit. And that's why, I don't think he's as valuable to some other teams, maybe even to many other teams. But I don't know that there's another team he'd be more valuable to because of his style of play as a receiver and Patrick Mahomes' style of play as a quarterback. I think he's going to fit in very well there. And, the headline of today's episode is the best just got better. And they did. I think the Kansas City Chiefs just got better. And that's a scary thought. That's a real scary thought. Because right now their defense is owning this league. And now their offense with Patrick Mahomes, a quarterback who's not having a Patrick Mahomes. Let's call it what it is. Patrick Mahomes, by Patrick Mahomes standards, is having a bad season. He is. That's just the facts. That's the numbers. But he ain't going to keep playing at that level.
No.
He's only going to get better as the games start to matter more and more. And now they just added a really cool weapon to him as well. And my God, can you imagine if now that they got Hopkins, if they also got Cooper Kupp?
So I'm saying
It's sick.
Those two and Kelsey, they're, jeez, I don't know. Everyone thinks they're going to win anyway, so now they're just getting better. There's no downside to this. He only has 1 year.
They gave up a fifth round pick.
And his contract ends at the end of this year. So if it doesn't work out, you can get rid of him. If not, you can re-sign him for a better salary cap space or whatever. So there's no downside. He's legit has Hall of Fame stats. So over 12,000 yards, almost 80 touchdowns. He's been playing for like 12 years. He's been good ever. He's dependable. So it gives them another weapon. I don't see a downside to it. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it works out.
In if granted we're going back, but he went on a streak, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 year streak. We got for 1,200 yards, 1,500 yards.
He was the best receiver in the league.
954, 1,378, 1,572, 1,165, and 1,407. Then he ended up on the Arizona Cardinals. He got 500, 700. But then, again, just last year, he caught for over 1,000 yards again. Yeah. So I'm telling you what, Patrick Mahomes right now is sitting in the practice facility salivating.
And I was looking at a stat too, like the Chiefs' last 2 seasons have done deadline trades for receivers. And they're not big names, but the Kadarius Toney and Hardman, they both had touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Yeah. So they produce with these guys coming out of nowhere to help them. Now you got a guy that's a Hall of Fame worthy career coming, so he's going to do something to help them out. So I think it's a great deal. I'm interested to see how they play this week.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this move? The Kansas City Chiefs go out and get DeAndre Hopkins. I think this is a great move for them, and they gave up so little. A 5th round pick that turns into a 4th round pick if DeAndre plays 60% of the offensive snaps and they go to the Super Bowl. If they do that, it becomes a 4th. But even then, a 4th round pick for this, I think that's a pretty good deal that they've made. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's now move over and start taking some of your questions. Hey, listen, guys, if you have a question you'd like to ask us, go ahead and use the super chat feature in the live chat and send it on in. And we've got a couple in there already. But then once we are done those, you can just send in a question to the live chat itself. We don't guarantee we'll be able to answer them, but we'll pick a couple from there and answer those as well. So, Jonathan, what do we got up here?
We got King Daddy Goat says, thanks, King Daddy Goat. Did you guys discuss Rodgers eating boogers? Gross.
All right.
Thank you.
Do you want to set the stage for this? Because you watched.
I watched some of it. I just saw on McAfee.
It involves a nose.
Yeah, the finger. It was something on McAfee. They had a clip of him digging in his nose and something about eating him. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it's interesting. That guy.
Look, I personally don't care. I really don't care. There's a lot of things to criticize about Aaron Rodgers, especially this year, but that I don't care. I'm sure if a camera was on enough people for long enough, you'd find a lot of guys eating boogers, but not me. Nobody in this room.
I mean, I feel like it might
Nobody
be
in this room.
par for the course for him and everything we've discussed. I mean,
Maybe.
I don't know.
He's immunized, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
He's safe.
It's not like other people are eating his boogers.
Well,
So,
all right. What's next?
Self-medicated.
self-medicated. Dizwebo says, rest in peace to the great Fernando Valenzuela. As an Astros fan, I got to see him pitch in the Astrodome in the 80s with
Wow.
my grandfather. That's so cool. He meant so much to our Latin American community. Go Dodgers. Yeah, he really transcended even Dodgers fans. It was really, for the Latin American fan base. It was massive.
The thing I was reading, they said that basically, like you're saying, the Fernando Mania, no matter if it was at Dodger Stadium or on the road, Latino fans and fans in general would come watch and sell out games to see him play. So,
Yeah. Again, I was watching Rich. I mean, like almost every day, I'm watching Get Up, First Take, Pat McAfee, Rich Eisen, Colin Cowherd. Like I'm watching all these guys every day, right? And so I'm watching Rich Eisen, and he talked a bit about, because I didn't realize he did his show in L.A. I didn't realize that, but he said if you're old enough and you were around, like you really got to understand like what it did to the Latino community in LA. And as somebody who is a transplant to LA, like I've recognized like the Latino community, and first of all, LA loves the Dodgers, but the Latino community in LA really loves the Dodgers, man. And he was saying that you can directly trace that back to Fernando Mania. And like when he really just opened the imagination of a lot of people. And I think that's incredible when stories like that get told. So yeah, RIP to Fernando for sure. All right. What's next?
Sean Brennan says, hey, John and Cruz, 7 weeks in, how many teams do you think have an actual shot to win the Super Bowl? To me, it's Lions, Ravens, Chiefs, Packers, Vikings.
I agree with all of those. I would also say this. They have not looked wonderful the last couple of weeks, but low key on the outside there, I'd include the Texans. I don't think Washington is there yet, but oh my God, if they just keep being smart and develop the way they're developing with the quarterback they've got right now, they're going to be scary for years to come. But I would put the Texans in there, and I'll say this. If Evans comes back and they can get another receiver, if the stars align right, I would also on the outside put the Bucs in there. Because when they're firing on all cylinders, they're a very, very formidable team. But I agree with your core. Do you got anybody you would add to that?
Did you have the Steelers on there?
I didn't, but maybe the Steelers.
We
got to see them more with Russell Wilson.
Ravens are probably going to win that division. I'm interested to see how Russell plays with rest of this team. But yeah, the rest of those teams I totally agree with too.
Because I would absolutely not say the Steelers under Justin Fields.
No.
But under Russell Wilson, I mean, they looked really good the other night, but we need to see at least 2 or 3 games with him on there. All right, good question, man. What's next?
Abe says, let me see. It's moved on me. When you think of worst referee calls ever in major U.S. sports, what comes to mind? For me, it will always be the Saints versus Rams.
I was just thinking, as soon as I heard go on. Sorry, finish the question.
Just Saints versus Rams, no pass interference call in the playoffs.
That was easily, and at the time, it was a non-reviewable play. Why there are such things as non-reviewable plays, I have no idea. But for those of you who don't remember, it literally cost them the game.
It was the most blatant pass interference. I'm a Rams fan. It was the most blatant pass interference.
The guy literally torpedoed himself at the receiver, and you can see in the video, the ball's behind the defender. The ball hasn't even gotten within 3 yards of the defender, let alone past the defender to get to the receiver. And he's already tackling the receiver. And they didn't call it pass interference. And it's not like one of those bang, bang plays. Well, yes, of course, in slow motion. No, I get that. It was clear as day. It was one of the most ridiculous things I had ever seen. And it caused them the following year to change the rule.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's absolutely one of the worst. And then, I mean, recently the WNBA final call, because that was literally the championship was cost because of it. That's a big one too. But yeah, that one with the Rams and the Saints, I'll never forget that one.
Then the one to me, unless you're a Patriots fan, the Tuck rule. But, we'll see. Basketball, there's been some, like there's a Larry Johnson foul for the Knicks to go to the finals, like in 99 on the sideline where he didn't get touched and they gave him a foul on a 3. There's some other ones. Yeah, there's some. The Rams one, though, that's someone that, even as a Rams fan, I felt horrible. So they went to the Super Bowl because of that. And the fool just literally just decked the guy out of the bounds. I'm like, okay.
All right, what's next?
All right, we got Coach sipping Jamba Juice out of a straw says, do you think the Raiders will select Sanders in the drafts since he has close connections to Mark Davis and Tom Brady?
No.
They need a quarterback. I just don't. I mean, he's good. I just don't know. That seems more of an Al Davis pick to me than a Mark Davis pick. He'd always pick the most athletic guy, even though he wasn't.
But here's the thing. Like I'm swept up in Coach Prime mania too. So I'll watch the Colorado games when they're on. He's not that good of a quarterback. I know everybody's raving about him, and if you look at the stat sheet, not bad. But I'm just watching the kid play, and I just don't think he's that good. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he'd be a total waste or anything like that. I'm not saying he can't be an NFL quarterback. I'm just saying I just don't see why he gets the attention that he gets right now, other than the fact that he's Prime's son. I mean, it is, again, I'm not saying he doesn't have talent. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not a legit starter for that team. I'm just saying I don't think he'll translate well to the NFL game. I really don't. But who knows? I've been wrong before. All right, what's next?
King Daddy Goat says, did you see the NBA is investigating the Sixers now?
Yeah,
Why?
it's for...
I've not heard about this. What?
I was going to mention it before the show, but it's about Embiid, how he's going to take games off. He's already saying he's not playing back-to-backs, and the NBA frowns on players load managing, so they're already investigating it. So I would imagine they're going to get fined.
Yeah, there's such a fine line, and really there's a bigger discussion to have here that we won't go into fully right now. But I mean, there is such a fine line between, listen, if you're a team, you're a management of a team, your number one responsibility is to win. And if you think your best chances of winning a championship are managing your players in such a way that they'll play some nights and won't play other nights, I get it. After all, that's why you play the game, to win the title. If you think the best way to win the title is to do that, then you do what to do. But at the same time, your league is predicated on people paying money to watch your sport. And I was really lucky. Ann and I were looking at buying these tickets to a Laker game once, and they were pretty good tickets. We're like, should we splurge and get those? And last second, we decided not to get them. And oh my God, were we ever happy, because number one, we found out later that day, LeBron wasn't going to play, and that I can't remember what the team was, but the number one star on the other team coming into town was also not going to play. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, thank God I didn't drop, $600 on tickets. And that's what the NBA is worried about.
Was it Giannis?
No, it wasn't Giannis. But I remember thinking to myself, people spend the money, yes, to come see the game, but they come to see the stars. And if you just for no reason say you're not going to, you paid your money, thank you, but we're not going to give you the stars, I mean, that can hurt the league long term. Yeah. So it's something they do have to monitor. I mean, but then at the same time, you got somebody like Kawhi, right? Where it's hey, if you do run this guy every night, then when the NBA needs him the most come playoff time, he ain't going to be able to play. So there's got to be a balance there somewhere, but it is tough.
Speaking of Kawhi, they just said he's out weeks.
Oh my God.
Right now. The Shams put out, they asked him, when's Kawhi coming back? And he's like, not for weeks.
Because remember they're
So that
saying
could
they
be-
were
that
hoping
could
to
be
get
a
me back
month
for
or 2
opening
months.
night.
Yeah, but he's not coming back.
And how
till-
long's George going to be out?
They say he may be back soon. I think they said he was day to day after this first game.
So they're going to start the season with the system.
Well, yeah. James Harden's going to open Intuit Dome regular season.
Yeesh. Man, whatever. Anyway, all right, guys, listen. That's it from the super chats. We're going to take just a minute now and take some questions from you guys in the live chat. If you're in the live chat right now, look at the thing I just put in. Form your question with all capital letters, question, colon, and then ask your question so we know it's an actual question that you guys are asking and you're not just talking amongst yourselves. So, Jonathan, we got anything in there?
Yeah, we got one right now from Mighty Tank who says, "What's your thoughts on NFL OT rules? Personally, I think both offenses should have a chance to score."
100%.
The playoff rule should be the all-season
Yeah,
rule.
they were smart enough to make that the rule in the playoffs.
Yep.
It should be the rule in the regular season as well. The whole notion that, look, and statistics show it. Like, I can't remember the exact number, but the X% of teams that win the coin toss win the game.
Yeah.
That should not be an advantage.
Nope.
When you say, hey, okay, you get the ball first, and if you score, that's it, and the other team doesn't get a shot to possess the ball, I think it is one of the absolute, like, here's how bad it is. College overtime rules are better. And I don't like the college overtime rules, but the college games overtime rules are better than the NFL overtime rule. You got to have, like, look, it should be team that gets possession first. If you score a touchdown, field goal, whatever, if the opposing team gets a pick six, the game's over because you don't need anything else. If you score a field goal or a touchdown, fine, but the other team gets at least one possession. If they turn it over on downs, if they don't score enough points, if there's a turnover, game over. But it's the height of idiocy that in a game like this, both offenses don't get a chance to possess the ball. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. It puts too much of the game comes down to the flip of the coin.
Well, yeah, because
then why are you playing the game?
The team that loses, that just basically the defense that's played the whole game has to start another quarter when the offense isn't as tired, and it's not fair. They change it for the playoffs. It should just be the rule for every game.
All right, what's next?
All right, we got this thing bumped on me. All right, come on, go. Cameron says, "Do you think Cooper Kupp gets traded?"
Yesterday I didn't, but now seeing all the reports now, I think I was wrong.
Especially if it's the Rams calling other teams if they want to trade. It's not like they're calling the Rams.
And are you telling me there's not going to be a team out there that isn't willing to give up a second-round pick?
Someone will need a receiver.
Somebody who thinks they just need that final push to really make a deep playoff run or maybe even have some hope of getting to the Super Bowl, they'll pick up the phone. All right, what's next?
We got, let's see. Young Lambo says, "How competitive would a fight between Nagano and Jones would have been?"
It would have been competitive. Like, look, I'll just say right now, I don't know where Nagano is right now. I mean, yes, he just won the PFL title. Okay, great. But, so I don't know where he is right now as a fighter. I do know this. The Francis Ngannou who beat Stipe Miocic to win the UFC heavyweight title would beat John Jones. John Jones simply wouldn't be able to handle that power. He just would not be able to handle that power. But today, like if today's Ngannou fought John Jones hasn't fought since Fernando Valenzuela pitched. and Ngannou is like, I just don't know what he is now. So I have no idea. I honestly have if those two were to fight right now, no clue. Can you
at least say that John Jones will never be hit as hard as Ngannou will probably.
Oh no, 100%.
Nobody on earth.
Yeah, no, he'll never be hit as hard as Ngannou will hit.
Despite its age, he might be too slow. I think he has that equalizer that Jones doesn't have in her fight. Ngannou can win it from the first or the fifth.
The only way John, you get knocked up by anything, but basically, I think Jones, if he took him down, Ngannou would lose.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think Ngannou could wrestle.
But it all depends. It depends on how much over the past couple of years has he worked his ground game. Because remember, Stipe is a world-class level wrestler. And in their second, that's why Ngannou lost his first fight to him.
Yeah.
But in the second fight,
if he
totally neutralized it, right? But I mean, here's the reality. Like right now, John Jones could not beat Aspinall. And that's why John Jones is dodging, like desperately with his suitcase in hand, running as fast as he can away from Tom Aspinall. He wants nothing to do with that. That's why he's taking a fight with a 42-year-old guy who hasn't won a fight in 5 years in Stipe Miocic. Really? That's a guy who hasn't won a fight in 5 years. That's the guy you're going to fight because he is desperately terrified of Aspinall. So that fight's not going to happen because he's scared to death.
I would actually, if I had some money, like extra money, I would actually put money on Stipe. What Stipe got's probably in that fight is the rust that John Jones. If he comes in top shape, well, Stipe hasn't fought in a long time either, right?
Stipe hasn't won a fight in 5 years.
Neither of them have fought in years.
I mean,
So
if they set up a Ngannou and Jones has been inactive, man, I would actually pick Ngannou.
I would absolutely pick. Yeah, I think I'd pick Ngannou, but again, it's
so
hard to
active
say.
lately.
He's like he just won the PFL title. That's good, but that's not the UFC.
Yeah,
so
Jones
I just don't know where it would be.
I don't know.
All right, let's take one last question today.
Right. Just real quick. Alchemist, just questions. Do you guys follow soccer at all?
No.
No.
I follow
The big games.
like Ann and I go to LAFC games once in a while. By the way, LAFC games, lot of fun, and we've gone to a Wrexham exhibition game when they came down and played a exhibition game against Man U in San Diego. That was a lot of fun. And I follow when World Cup comes around. When the World Cup comes around, then I watch, but I don't really follow it that much. Like I don't follow the Champions League or the Premier League or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of you guys do either.
Because of Welcome to Wrexham now, like yes, sure, I'm a bandwagoner, but it's fun. I follow the stats.
Well, Wrexham and Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
That's
so I
put on a
follow.
lot of people's
I do
radars.
follow Wrexham stats. I was kind of thinking about going in on their video pass, so you can like watch the games.
Yeah.
Oh, I would be down for that too.
Yeah.
I
I'll
would
send
watch
you. I'll send you the
Wrexham.
link for that. But yeah, you can do that. But that's it for that.
Yeah, I only have one friend that watches Premier League stuff, and he's tried to get me into it for a long time. I might start watching. I know it's like on NBC Sports and stuff. I know soccer is the biggest sport in the world, and America's
by far, yeah.
doesn't watch any of it really. So I'm not against it. I just haven't ever really watched
Right.
it.
I gotta tell you, when we go to the
It's fun.
LAFC
No,
games,
it's fun.
it's fun.
And the World Cup is insane when that's on.
Oh, yeah. No, World
it's
Cup
like
is
every
crazy.
channel, and then everyone wears their jerseys out. If you walk around, it's like it's such a nice world event. I think a world sporting
my,
Yeah,
event.
my
it's
grandpa, he's from Argentina, and he loves soccer. He
I
would watch it all
imagine.
the time. So when he was around and it was on Maradona and all those guys, he was like, oh, and he tried to get me into it. And I was like, I'm watching Lakers, man. I can't watch soccer right now.
Somebody in the live chat just said, "Man United, not
Oh,
Man U. You're going to get flack from United fans for the latter." Man U, Man U, Man U, Man U, Man U,
Oh,
Man U,
man,
Man
see
U,
it.
Man U.
The thing is like anyone who's a hardcore Man United fan is not looking at American sports really.
No.
They're fanatics over British,
Yeah.
football. So
All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of Filthy Sports. Thank you so much for being with us here and joining us on our little show. Hey, listen, guys, we're a brand new channel. If you guys really want to help us grow, the best things you can do right now are click the thumbs up button, leave a comment on some of our videos, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. All that engagement stuff, magic fairy dust for the YouTube algorithm, and it helps our videos get pushed out to even more people. So thank you for that. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora,
Hit the shower, boys.
Jonathan Voico,
all right, I'm gonna go hit the shower.
and Ryan Myers.
I'm getting the hell out of here.
Two James win games, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campion. Until next time, everybody. Bye-bye.